Hi, I'm Hugh Sullivan, videographer for the Herald and Review, and last week I talked to you about some advice that kind of inspired me to get up and actually pursue my dreams of filmmaking. And so now I wanted to share some steps that I took to get where I'm at right now. And again, I'm not playing this up as some Hollywood success story. I've obviously got way more things than I want to do, but I'm really happy with where I'm at right now, and I didn't expect to be here a few years ago. And that is, I'm producing fairly regular content with a group of really talented and funny people. So the big word is networking. Say it with me now. Networking. Very good. And that's a word that at Millikan they really kind of crammed down our throats, and especially in our entrepreneurship class, we heard that word constantly, and it became a running joke between my wife and I. Anytime they asked us a question, we'd say, "Oh, I bet it's networking." But it was true. I was surprised at just how many opportunities opened up when you surround yourself with people who do what you do and have similar interests and skills. So I wanted to surround myself with people who were interested in filmmaking, and I wanted to learn. I was confident with my skills behind a camera, but I had no experience directing a cast and crew and keeping things running smoothly on a set. So to start, I was already part of an improv group here in Decatur called Troop Dynamic. For a little over a year, we met every week to produce monthly sketches and top 10 lists and funny videos, and so I already had a relationship with some really funny and talented actors and writers. Next, I made some contact with some old friends who were into filmmaking. First, I got a hold of a friend named Ulrich Rocha who was producing an 8mm movie, and so I got to work on his set and see how he did things. And actually, I, for some reason, accepted the job as like a special effects guy. He needed somebody to make like a squib for a practical effect. He wanted a guy to shoot and hit a tree and have the bark kind of explode off of it. And I said, "Oh, that sounds really fun." And so I, went on YouTube and found a video on how to make your own squib, and I was really confident going into it, even though I had no prior, working with explosions. And so it was just a horrible failure. We're out in the snow trying to film this movie, and it didn't work, and I looked like an idiot. But I did spend a couple days working on the set doing non-explosive stuff like measuring focus and things like that. And so I was happy to be able to help out in that capacity and not just the explosions. Next, I got a hold of Champaign filmmaker Mike Trippetti. He was working on a movie called Amber Rose, and I knew his cinematographer because he had taught my class for a short time at Millikan. And so I knew Mike. He came and talked to my class once, and I saw some of his projects, and I thought he was really funny, and I thought I want to do something with him. So when I contacted him, he was just getting ready to start the pre-production and get all of his cast and crew set up, so I was able to go about 6 days, and this was a month-long process. Amber Rose was the first time I'd ever been on a movie set where there was tons of equipment. I was running audio and video lines out to a big director's station where Mike was able to sit there with headphones and kind of keep an eye on what was going on through the camera, and big lens setups and camera gear, and I was really drooling over everything and just happy to be a part of that. Amber Rose actually went on to win the Best Feature in the Washington, D.C. Independent Film Festival and the Illinois International Film Festival, and it also was in several other film festivals in New York and California, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Florida. It was all over the place. So it was cool to be part of a project that went on to do a lot of big things. So that's how I started. I know in the last video I said that the reason I got into filmmaking was because I wanted that control, but it helped for me to just jump into someone else's project and help out on set. That way I could see how things worked before I just went off on my own to do it. And not only did I have experience, but I was able to make friends and gain some trust and respect for people that I was going to be hopefully working with later. And before I finish up here, I want to say that networking doesn't just mean calling your friends or calling old acquaintances and meeting people that way. There is something to be said for cold calling. I've been able to get access to different locations for shooting or different props and things like that by just calling someone up out of the blue and saying, "Hey, I'm a local filmmaker and this is what I do. Can you help me out?" And you'd be surprised how often someone says yes. And even if they don't, what's the worst that can happen? They just say no, and you're stuck finding some other way to get it done. And it's actually worked the other way around too. I've had some people who've seen my projects get a hold of me out of the blue saying, "Hey, I liked your work. Can you help me with something?" And that's a lot of fun. I like getting those calls. So if you're thinking about getting into filmmaking in Decatur or Central Illinois in this area, and you need help or you just want advice, give me a call. consider me one of the people who you can cold call and just say, hey, I want to do filmmaking. What can you do for me? Because even if I can't help you, I can most likely point you in the direction of someone who can help. I try. I do my best. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel. Go check out my personal channel where I have all these projects that I'm talking about right now. And check back every week where I talk about my experiences behind the camera.